do it.
So let's talk about manual versus automatic. This was a request from our friend MannyMo50. And I know that AJ's a manual driver, Max drives stick, I drive stick, and then you drive auto, but you're learning how to drive stick.
But I own a stick, though.
Yeah.
I have everything.
And I had a manual or automatic GT before I had the Shelby.
Oh, so you know what?
I saw it, yeah.
Shit, my work truck stick shift, bro.
No.
Everything I drive stick.
So pros and cons, what do we think?
Performance-wise, I mean, I think with the stick you feel the power because you can obviously shift at whatever RPMs you want, high or low, and you're able to freaking unleash the beast, man. I mean, to me, there's nothing like a stick shift car.
You have more control. You have more control of your car with the manual shift. So you could rev match, you could, rev, it's just so much funner. You're more interactive versus paddles, but paddle or autos are pretty cool too, You're just not as interactive, I think.
How do you feel?
Automatic, bro?
I don't know. I think automatics are better. Just like all around, like overall, it's easier to drive. Duh. I think it's just better. There's a reason why supercars nowadays are all automatics,
Well, when you get to that level, like performance now, automatics are obviously fast. Look at the new
Yeah.
Mustang, like automatics are faster. But talking about driving, right? Like talking about driving, feeling your car. I don't think you can get the same amount of feel for your car in an automatic car as you do in a manual car.
So let's break it up then.
I agree with that.
We don't have to decide, whether manual is better than automatic
Yes,
or not.
we do.
No, we don't have to decide. We can break it down and say what we like about each. Like for example, in my perspective, I learned how to drive manual in my Mustang. All right, and that's scary for a lot of people because you're learning. I mean, stock is 425 or something like that at the crank. So to a lot of people, that's scary to learn in that kind of a car. It's a V8, it's a sports car. It's scary for a lot of people. But I taught myself how to drive in that car, and I love it. I used to drive an automatic Nissan Altima, 2004. That was my first car ever, and it got me around from point A to point B. And I was being a little poser, pretending I knew a thing or two about performance driving, but I didn't, and I was just trying to, but I wasn't actually doing it. In my experience, I think manual, you get more control over your car and you can actually truly have more fun and a more connected driving experience with your car, going through canyons, just having a little fun on the freeway and all that stuff. You just feel more connected to the car. With an automatic, you don't have to deal with like your leg day workout during traffic. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my god.
There are pros and cons. I think especially too if you look at higher performance vehicles, cars like the Porsches that come with PDK dual clutch transmissions that are automatic that are just already loading the next gear up as you're already ending that second gear, and then when you're ready to shift, just boom, it's just quick. That's cool. That's really cool. But I mean, I don't know. That's my experience, my perspective.
Well, that's the performance, and now they are. I mean, like you said, the Porsches, but even the lower end cars, like the new Mustang or the Hellcat or these cars, their transmissions are a lot faster with the paddle shift, so they are more performance minded than before than automatics used to be. You used to have the slap shift automatics. You go into sport mode and then control your gears, but it takes so long to transfer over into your gears. Like my truck does that, but you slap shift it and it just, you have to wait for it to engage. But yeah, performance wise, a lot of guys are using automatics on the track now versus manual shift. But I'd say performance wise, it's probably better nowadays, but as far as having fun with your car and enjoying your car more, I would go with manual shift. That's my take on it. I
think a lot of it has to do with driving. People that drive stick shift cars don't know how to drive it. Performance-wise, I mean, if you know how to preload your car to launch, you're gonna get out the hole probably just as fast. A lot of people don't know how to drive, so obviously automatics would be faster for the majority of the cars on the street now. But like you said, as far as fun to drive, I wouldn't get an automatic. I wouldn't have bought my Mustang if it was automatic. I don't care if it's 10 speed, I don't care if it's 18. It has to be stick. Unless when I get my GTR, I have no choice. But I mean, that's a beast all on its own. But it has to be stick. If there's a stick option, I'm gonna get a stick no matter.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm curious to know more so your perspective, because
So I just
you
learned how to
have
drive.
an automatic Camaro, and now you're learning how to drive stick in the Abarth.
Say you're gonna get a ZR1, and they had an
That's gonna be
option,
an automatic.
and they had an option, you'd get an automatic.
I told Danny if I get an older Corvette, I'm getting a manual, and if it's the newer ones, I definitely want an automatic, because learning this, like, automatics hands down are faster. I'm not stupid. I know the computer can think faster than I can, and it's a performance vehicle. I want to be like top notch every single time. So my perspective of this is I don't have an issue with stick. I have had a lot of fun in the Fiat and learning how to do it. What ruins standard driving for me is the people around me, because first of all, I'm learning, right? But even still, you do need to give yourself a little bit more time, just because your reaction is not as fast as a computer's reaction would be. So I've already had like 100 issues of people just cutting me off, and I don't have enough space, or rolling backwards. They get right on your ass, and that like ruins the experience. Like, I get stressed out driving, because I mean, first of all, it's new, and second of all, it's just like people are freaking stupid and they ruin the experience for you. Because you remember the days that you guys were like waiting for me and I was not answering the phone? It's because I was stressed out and people were riding my ass. I was stuck on a hill.
But I think a lot of it has to do with exactly that, like learning how to drive a stick car. So if you're a performance driver, like you want to race, and you're trying to race in a stick shift car, but you don't know how to drive it right, you don't know how to launch right, you don't know how to control it, your first answer is going to be, oh, automatic is faster, let me get an automatic. Instead of saying, okay, you know what, I don't know how to drive this car, let me learn. Let me go either take some racing lessons or hit up somebody that knows how to drive. Let me learn how to drive a stick shift car to put out its maximum performance. That's a different story. A lot of people, I think, just automatically think, oh yeah, the automatic is faster, so I'm just gonna get an automatic. But to me, it takes away, I think, a lot of the feel of, like you said, you know, revving at whatever you want, rev matching at the stoplight, or when you're downshifting, being able to do things like that, especially like in the canyons. Again, we're talking about average cars. We're not talking about supercars, because supercars obviously are a different category. They perform better in their freaking dual clutch transmissions. But talking about an average car, like to me, like a Mustang, I would never get it in an automatic. Corvette, I would never get it in automatic. You know, if they have a stick option, I'm getting a stick.
That's just my personal
I don't know. Does the CR1 have a stick option? I don't even know.
I don't follow Chevy like that enough to know if the ZR1 has a stick.
you
But I want to add on to what Max is saying. I think a lot of people do just automatically default to the automatic because it's probably the easier route that they think or that they know, or you know, it might actually be a little bit faster than a stick shift. But there is a whole other dynamic to learning how to drive your car. And it's just a whole lot of fun, dude. Like for me, it's fun learning how to drive a stick shift car. Like no two sticks are the same.
Yeah.
So when I went from the Mustang to the Abarth, there was a little bit of a learning curve there because the Abarth obviously has less power and shorter gears, so I'm shifting more in the Abarth than I would be in the Mustang. But yeah, it's kind of fun to. Honestly, I personally believe, and I could be wrong, but I personally believe that if you're gonna go and call yourself a car enthusiast, at least make the effort to learn how to drive a stick shift car. Because if all you're gonna do is drive an automatic car, I mean,
you're cutting out a lot of the, you know, old like cars that probably made
well,
your
let me go
car.
ahead and clarify. If you're gonna go about driving an automatic car and then just talk a whole page full of shit about stick shift car, then you're not a real car enthusiast in my opinion. Because there was a lot of cars that were never automatic.
And I remember when I first got my auto, that everybody used to make fun of me saying, oh, you don't know how to drive stick. And I was like, dude, I learned how to drive a car in a stick. But, you know, it's just, you know, that used to be the stigma. Oh, you know, you need to drive a stick. You should have a stick. You know, now, you know, less sticks are being made. You know, probably in 5 more years, 10 more years, there won't be no manual shifts coming out. You know, so, you know, it's something that is, you know, it's just, we're just evolving, and people look at like a manual shift car as kind of not, kind of a dumbed down version of a car now, you know, but it is way more fun to drive a stick than it is an auto. And then the other thing is too, you're more interactive with your car, and you're driving, you're paying attention. In an auto, you don't have to pay attention, and you know, you might not be watching the road. You can do this, you can do that. and you know you might be getting more accidents with the automatic than you would manual, because you're forced to pay attention. You're forced to have one hand on the wheel, one hand on the shifter, you know? So.
I agree with that. I will say that, I've had more fun learning how to drive the Barth than I've had driving the Camaro. But I still love my Camaro because A, it has way more horsepower, and B, it's, you know, that's my baby. That was my first nice car that I paid for myself, so I still love that car. But yeah, I do like, it's almost like having your own little Pokemon, and you're getting attached to them, and you're learning together.
And
I'll
don't get
say
me
that,
wrong,
but
I'm not.
LA ruins it.
I'm not trying to go to the extent of talking smack against automatic cars, because I am one of those believers. Like, if you can get your hands on a PDK transmission, a dual clutch transmission,
Best transmission out there.
Yeah.
you know, you're on a whole other level. But you know, I'm not gonna go to the extent and like talk smack about somebody who gets a performance car in an automatic,
Yeah.
or just a regular car in an automatic. You know, people have their reasons for getting what they want to get.
Yeah.
But
I think
Well,
like
I
you
mean,
said though, if you get a car and you don't at least attempt to learn how to drive stick or anything like that, I think that's kind of the difference. When you drive a stick, I mean, I first started learning how to drive a little Civic, but it was stick shift. So it's like once you learn how to drive a stick, you kind of appreciate the car, like
Yeah.
the power. You know, I mean, it wasn't fast because it was a little Honda, but you still understand like how the engine works, how to shift, when to shift, the power of the car, and then when you go to swap the motor or whatever, you kind of, you
Even
know,
going over to auto, you understand how the engine works now. Like, you really understand what's happening, even in my car. Because I would just play with the paddle shifter. I hear it get up to a certain level, and I was like, okay, time to shift. But now I'm like, oh, okay, I understand what's actually going on because of the Barth. But I don't know. I still think automatics are better than stick shift. And I'm a firm believer in talking shit about manuals.
oh, that's fine. But see, that's the difference. Is I think you can have your opinion, and if you want to talk shit, you can talk shit. But what I'm saying is at least you're learning how to drive a stick shift car, so you can get that experience, so you can have that knowledge.
I'm just learning how to do it, so I know when I say that manuals suck, that I'm right.
do you think that we're biased to stick shift because we
Yeah,
come from an older era?
absolutely, 100%.
Because if you think about like you said, the cars before were all stick shift, so all the sports cars were stick. We're biased. We're men. We're like, oh yeah, real men drive stick, you know.
Yeah.
Where all the new cars now are coming out automatic with, you know, dual clutch transmissions, 10-speed, all that stuff.
Rev matching.
And, yeah.
They even have rev matching.
and
you
they're
know. Even for the stick, the Camaro or the I think the Z06 has a rev match feature for their manual, so you don't even have to, you know, heel toe.
I mean, like, babe, you and I at a dig. I beat you.
I mean, yeah, but at the same
Wait,
time,
what car?
Camaro.
In the Camaro versus Mustang, I
No
beat
way.
him. Yeah.
Well,
He
here's
didn't-
the
he
thing
didn't
though.
catch up to
I'll
me
race
till-
you any day.
I'm down. I'll
Any
race you.
day.
I have
Tonight, right now.
I'll even call out my homeboys in Seattle.
We're gonna put it in this.
Let's do
freaking
it.
video. We're gonna go.
I'm not letting it go.
All right.
I will never let it go because that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. If like my car as an automatic beat your driver mod.
No, your
Yes.
car as an automatic beat me.
Yes.
Because I'm
That's
not
what
I'm not a
saying,
fast
though.
driver.
Computers are just they're
Nah, nah,
faster.
nah, nah.
Race
Let's prove that theory.
Danny.
Well, we're
Danny
gonna post
is-
that damn video on this fucking. We're
I'll
gonna
race Max.
Race
I'll
Max.
do it. I'll do it.
Wide body and all.
Yeah, because I'm not a race car driver. I like to have fun, but I don't make it a point to learn, you know, when I should launch my car or, you know, the
Yeah.
perfect shift
That's
point.
what I'm saying. But you're not a person who wants to race like that. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people that switch from automatic to stick is the people that want to race and they don't know how to drive their car, so they just say, oh, you know what, I'm just gonna go automatic.
Yeah.
I'll race you.
And that's actually another good point. Like, there's this whole other group of people that will just get an automatic because they want to race their car.
Yeah, that's
You
why I
know,
got
and
that car.
well, when Max wins, then you
I
can
mean,
go ahead and talk about
we
it.
need to set parameters right now. Because
First to second gear, that's it.
first to second,
Yeah.
my car's like in second in 2 seconds.
That's what I'm saying. But you're saying that you can launch on a Mustang.
Oh, I can. I've done it.
That's what I'm saying.
I've done it. I've done it too.
We're off subject here. We need to cut this shit.
What's up, you guys? I hope you enjoyed that video. If you have any topics you want us to talk about, go over to the website, enginebase.com, and send us an email with a link, your name, so on and so forth. All the info is there for you to send us an email to. We'll go ahead and talk about that topic next time we make a video. Until then, we'll see you soon.